chaos, right? And there, Taraka, as Romulo Mendonca would say, here we are, a very innovative event by Alvo and Jake to present the Jaecoo 07 Elite inside a Rede TV studio. Rede TV has been Brazil's fastest growing network for about 20 years, constantly expanding, but still remaining in 5th place. All right, folks, it's a pivotal Jaecoo 07. Easy to recognize, in black a little less so because it doesn't have a sunroof. But honestly, that's kind of the only important thing it gives up to hit this price. You know how much? In the pre-sale, 180,000 reais later, it'll go up to 190,000 reais. So in a way, you can also imagine that Jaecoo 07 Elite just killed. Maybe that's a strong word, but he gives a real punch in the gut to Jake Luxury and Jake Prestige, right? The two versions we had here. The Luxury, it costs 229, let's say 230. No, now it's gone up a bit, right? 235 on the price list, and the Prestige, 256 on the price list. And then when you look at the spec sheet, we're talking about cars that are practically identical. Whoa, continuing here with our little hashtag check-in, right? These videos, you know, the quicker ones. We still have the same hybrid powertrain here with a 1.5 turbo engine, 279 horsepower. And now you're already doing the math there. 279 horsepower for RR1000. We're looking at one of the best price per horsepower ratios in the Brazilian market. 1.5 turbo engine electric motor, DHT transmission. There's a video on the channel that says Jaecoo 07 is really surprising on the track. It's dynamically impressive because this is among the various paradigm shifts we're learning from the Chinese. Jaecoo 07 is a very unique product in the Brazilian market today. It is 4.50 meters long. Do you know who else is 4.50 meters long? Very few people. It's a little bigger than a Compass, a little bigger than a Corolla Cross, a little smaller than a Ravel H6, than a Song Plus. And with this aggressive price positioning, remember that the Jaecoo 05 is still coming. It does something that's rare to see. I can't think of any other car. The marketing presentation from the folks at Almoda Jake here was really cool. They kind of called it like it is, you know? I really like it when the automaker is very transparent. And they divided the SUV market, the marketing team here at Almoda Jake, into 3 segments. One segment of this range, 250,000 and up, where Raval H6 and Song Premium reign, which is a segment of more than 4,000 cars, or rather, on average, 4,000 cars per month. Then you have a range there of about 220 more or less, which is a segment of around 200 to 220 where Compass and Corolla Cross shine and dominate, which is a segment of 10,000 cars per month. And then you have a segment of 20,000 cars per month. You can see it here, look. Power liftgate. That was one of the differences between the mid-range Jaecoo 07 and the top one. Honestly, I think an electric trunk is pretty silly, right? But it's important for you to be fully aware of what you think. It doesn't mean what the world and society predominantly think. Because do you know who really wants an electric trunk? I had never thought about that. The guy who bulletproofs cars, as well as many buyers of these powerful, affordable Chinese hybrids, want to bulletproof them too. And then having a tailgate like this that's armored without electric opening and closing really is heavy. So if one day I ever made fun of how hard it is to do this by hand, it's because I forgot that you also have to do this by hand in the case of a bulletproof car. Since I've never armored a car and never will, it's not my problem. But anyway, getting back to my point, Jake, the 7 is a car that now in these 3 versions will compete in 3 market segments, right? This range of over 100,000, where the new Elite comes in here without the big sunroof, thanks to a lot of dieting and training, will compete with the top versions of cars like Creta, HR-V, and T-Cross, right? It goes up against the top-end compact SUVs. That's another very smart thing about the Chinese, right? All the versions have names that sound like top versions, right? Elite is the base one, but it could be the top one. Luxury is the mid-range, but it could be the top one. And Prestige is the top one. It could be the top one, and it is the top one. So it's going to compete in 3 segments, right? With the same car, with the same platform, exactly taking advantage of the fact that Jake, the 7, has an intermediate size, right? It has a size there. The that can compete with the top of the compacts and can compete with the larger mid-size ones, let's call it that. So look at the range, right? The car will range from 180,000 Rs up to 255,000 Rs, 256,000 Rs with the same powertrain, right? Obviously, what people ask the most here is, hey, Jake, haven't you guys basically killed off the top trim, right? Because the equipment differences, what really changes, don't really justify the price difference. I even had to take a quick look here, right? You can see that the new infotainment system, this is another thing that the Chinese cars are unbeatable at. Want to see something? This part about agility, well, the Jaecoo Elite only exists. You know where? I said Jaecoo, and it wants to talk to me. I don't want to talk to you right now. It's exclusive to Brazil. Out of 64 markets where this car is sold, they created this more basic version specifically for Brazil. Another thing about agility, right? The door panels were pretty basic, right? If you guys watch the other Jaecoo 7 videos here on the channel, I say, man, a car that promises to be a Land Rover on the outside, it falls short, right, in terms of finish. So they gave the doors a shot of testosterone and better materials here. They also changed something, and nobody can explain to me why Chinese automakers sometimes make the window controls backwards. Now it's right. Look, you pull up, it goes up. You press down, it goes down. You see a big mess here, right? Since I'm talking about positive differences in China, how fast China is at adapting products, right? When it comes to following feedback from consumers and journalists, adapting products, and even creating market-specific versions, Chinese brands do well. Where they still have a lot to learn is organizing events, right? Usually for this kind of event, we have a spreadsheet, an organization with the schedule for when everyone will record, both journalists and influencers, right? Usually they're on different days. Here, everyone is together and mixed up. Want to know who's an influencer? It's the ones with beards. Everyone is Generation Z, right? Bolder beards, more retro bangs in the case of the girls, really flashy outfits too. And I have a bit of trouble with that. It's very much part of Chinese culture. When you go to a salon in China, you see an ocean of ring lights, young people making videos, stories, going live especially. But I have serious doubts about what these people actually influence because I always joke, right? If you say your profession is influencer, you're wrong, right? Because I can't say that I'm an influencer. If you are influenced by me, then you can say that I'm an influencer. But I'm a journalist, right? I went to journalism school. There was no influencer degree in my time. And I wonder if these people actually influence anyone to buy a car. Anyway, I'm a bit grumpy because today is Friday and I had to deal with a lot of traffic to get here and back. It's Jake 7. Let's talk about what Chinese brands are really good at. Like I was saying, the numbers are staggering, right? Moda Jacob, man, ask that friend of yours who likes cars but isn't a supercar fan to list the new Chinese brands. He'll probably list them, right? BUG, GWM Ravals, maybe Falling Tank Oro within GWM. Then he'll remember GAC, MG, Geely, right? I don't think Moda Jacob is really top of mind when it comes to these new Chinese brands. And even so, do you know what their sales target is for this year? 50,000 cars in the second year, right? A brand that entered Brazil in 2024 in its second year, 2025 is already projecting to sell 50,000 cars and is already reaching 70 dealerships. The speed at which they adapt, invest, grow, and keep improving their products, right? It's really astonishing and helps explain the success, right? Honestly, this Jake 7 Elite here is a lot of car for what it offers, right? Again, too bad. I don't think I'll say it killed the luxury and prestige versions because I think a lot of people in this segment will insist on having a sunroof. And the people from Jake also said there's a bit of commercial policy involved, right? This car is starting at 180 in the pre-sale. Soon it'll go up to 190, and the intermediate one, the luxury, is listed at 235 when it's time to close the deal too. The gap won't be those 50,000 rays it seems to be today, basically because of the sunroof, knee airbag, Wi-Fi, right? IOV, which now stands for Internet on Vehicles. What else is different here? Knee airbag, and look, that's basically it. It's really something that doesn't justify 50,000. These improvements, right? You can see that the infotainment system here is new. The improvements in the interior are new. Even the luxury version didn't have these, right? Like the power tailgate, now even the base Elite has it. So this one is easy, right? putting on my fortune teller hat and predicting it's going to sell, right? FEV, right? Plug-in hybrid with 1,200 kilometer of range, 15 kilometer per liter combined consumption according to Inmetro. Range as a pure electric is around 60 kilometer, if I'm not mistaken, right? A pretty interesting range for you to use in your daily urban routine. It really is in the top trump category, right? The Chinese are usually unbeatable in this category, but Jaecoo 7 is being unbeatable even compared to the Chinese themselves. Let's see. Let's see if the army of influencers here will influence a lot of people to buy this car, or if its own merits will do it. That's what I'm betting on, right? The fact that it's a product with a very good, very aggressive value proposition will make Jaecoo 7 start to stand out, or rather, be responsible for a good part of those 50,000 cars that Almoda Jaecoo plans to sell this year. Just a reminder, right? It's going to be a very cheap, busy year for Almoda Jaecoo. There are other very strong products coming, right? The Jaecoo 5, man, if this car is reaching 180, the Jaecoo 5, which is basically a smaller Jaecoo 7, right? The look is very similar. It's going to come with a very aggressive price as well. The same powertrain as the Almoda 5 that we already know. And another car that has everything it needs to sell like crazy is the Almoda 4, the compact SUV, right? It has a Baby Urus look. We saw it over there in China. There's a static display video of it on his channel. Putting these points together, right? The aggressive price of this 7, the arrival of the Jaecoo 5, and also the arrival of the Almoda 4, it becomes pretty easy to believe in that forecast of 40,000, or rather 50,000 cars sold this year. Maybe I got someone thinking about a Jaecoo 7 as their next SUV. I don't know. I'm not paid for that. I'm a journalist. I came here to report the information to you. Leave a like on this video. Subscribe to Casio Cortez. I'm leaving here from Osasco, man, 5 in the afternoon, right before a long holiday. It's going to take me ages to get home. But anyway, all this sacrifices for you guys. Thanks a lot.